Britain is now standing at the edge of its deepest constitutional crisis in more than 300 years. A clash has erupted between Prime Minister Keir Starmer and King Charles III, and it's not just a political spat. It's a battle that could reshape the future of the monarchy, parliament, and the entire country. It began quietly, just a few days ago, inside Windsor Castle, away from cameras, journalists, and official ceremonies. King Charles took a step no monarch has dared in the modern era. He sat down, in private, for a 2-hour meeting with Nigel Farage and top members of Reform UK. This wasn't a formal handshake or a friendly photograph. It was a closed-door strategy session in the King's personal study. Sources inside the palace confirmed that Charles himself arranged the meeting. What sparked it? A document. Reform UK had just published its policy plan, called Restoring Britain's Democratic Foundation. In it, they accused Parliament of overreach and warned that Britain's historic institutions were crumbling piece by piece. Charles, long known for worrying about Britain's long-term stability, reportedly found those warnings hard to ignore. And then came 12 words. The King allegedly said, "Perhaps it's time for fresh thinking in Westminster. The current path seems unsustainable." 12 simple words, but they set off a chain reaction that could topple a government and drag Britain into its worst constitutional breakdown since the abdication crisis of 1936. The King's comments were never meant for the public. Royal tradition demands that the Crown stay out of politics. But within 48 hours, the entire country knew. The Times published the story first, then the BBC, Sky News, The Guardian, and the Daily Mail. The words that were supposed to remain locked inside Windsor Castle now covered every front page. But here's the twist. The leak didn't come from Reform UK. They had every reason to keep it hidden. Palace whispers suggest it came from inside Downing Street, from Labour MPs furious enough at their own leader to damage him from within. If that was the plan, it worked, but not how they expected. When Keir Starmer found out, he snapped. According to sources, the Prime Minister summoned an emergency cabinet meeting. Inside the room, he was described as pacing back and forth, papers clenched in his fists, his voice rising with fury. Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister, later admitted she had never seen him like that. And then came the words that shocked everyone present. Starmer slammed his fist onto the table and shouted, "If Charles wants to meddle in politics, I'll show him what politics really looks like. The monarchy serves Parliament, not the other way around. He's forgotten his place." Gasps filled the room. Ministers stared at one another in disbelief. But Starmer wasn't done. He went further, saying, 300 years of constitutional tradition, that's just old men in robes playing dress-up. This is 2025, not 1725. If the King wants a fight, he'll get one. That moment changed everything. Never in living memory had a British Prime Minister spoken with such open contempt for the monarchy. Within hours, his comments leaked. Civil servants whispered to journalists, ministers texted the press gallery, and by evening, the entire country knew. And then came the internet storm. On TikTok, Instagram, and X, outrage exploded. In less than 6 hours, #DefendTheCrown was the #1 trend worldwide. Old clips of Starmer's speeches resurfaced, edited with captions accusing him of betraying the country. Memes went viral. Starmer in Cromwell's armor, Starmer under a guillotine, Starmer ripping up the Union Jack. He became the villain of the week, and the backlash was merciless. What made it worse was that it wasn't just conservatives attacking him. Older Labour supporters, who had stood by the party for decades, felt betrayed. One viral video came from a 68-year-old retired teacher in Liverpool. She looked into the camera and said, "I supported Labour through Thatcher. I supported Labour through Blair. But attacking our king? That's not the Labour Party I know. That's not Britain." Her video hit more than 2 million views in a single day. Then came the polls. A Snap YouGov survey taken just hours after the story broke showed the damage. 73% of Britons believed Starmer had gone too far. Labour's approval rating collapsed, falling from 42% to 28% in a single day. Nearly half of Labour's own supporters admitted they were reconsidering their vote. This wasn't just a dip in the numbers, it was an implosion. And through it all, King Charles said nothing. Not a single word. Constitutional experts immediately praised his silence as a masterstroke. By refusing to respond, the Crown remained calm and dignified, while Starmer looked reckless and unstable. Every hour the King stayed silent, Starmer's anger seemed more unhinged. Inside Labour HQ, panic spread. MPs scrambled in WhatsApp groups, debating whether to defend him or push him out. Veteran MP Diane Abbott reportedly said, "In 40 years, I've never seen a leader implode like this. He hasn't just damaged himself, he's damaged all of us." Names of successors started circulating. Angela Rayner, Rachel Reeves, even whispers of Ed Miliband as a temporary leader. By week's end, Labour's support had dropped further to 26%. Reform UK surged to 24%. The Conservatives held steady at 32%. For the first time ever, Nigel Farage's party was within touching distance of replacing Labour as the official opposition. Behind the scenes, cabinet ministers were in open revolt. Transport Secretary Louise Hay reportedly left a meeting in tears after a screaming match with Starmer. Rachel Reeves, his closest ally, suddenly fell silent, refusing to defend him on TV. Angela Rayner, meanwhile, was quietly meeting with MPs, reassuring them, and many now saw her as the inevitable successor. So where does Britain go from here? The political map has been shattered. Labour is bleeding support and facing open rebellion. The Conservatives suddenly look stable again. Reform UK has surged into the mainstream, powered by donations and anger. And the monarchy, so often doubted in recent years, stands taller than ever, its silence turning into strength. This isn't just another scandal. This is a turning point. Britain hasn't seen a crisis of this scale in 3 centuries. And whatever happens next, whether Labour ousts its leader, whether Reform UK rises further, whether King Charles himself is eventually forced to speak, one thing is certain. Nothing in British politics will ever look the same again. So stay tuned, because this story is only beginning. And if you don't want to miss what happens next, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now.